Welcome back, everyone, to my no newGRF playthrough of OpenTTD. Last time we left off, we built this train line here for the iron ore industry chain. It goes from the primary industry, the iron ore mine, to the steel mill, over to the factory, and then back to this town. And today we will look around this area to see if there's any industries that we can serve. I think we're going to do these two farms here and add a little bit of a road network from these two farms to this factory here, and then we might bring in this farm as well with a small train line. So let's get started. Let's see if Fondingworth is big enough to accept goods, and it is. And again, you want to be sure you're on the truck depot and not the bus depot. The bus depot will only ever accept and supply passengers, so easy way to check. So let's see, if we're coming from here, we'll go in this way, and then so put a good station there. Here. Build a bridge over the tracks. You want to avoid level crossings on your lines wherever you can, because the trains can actually run into road vehicles and cause them to explode, which kills the driver and makes whatever city is nearest. If you click on a city, the city info panel will pop up. You click on the local authority, and every city you will have a rating from. And if this rating gets bad, it goes from outstanding to, I think, very good, then poor, then appalling. And if you good, mediocre, poor, appalling. And if it gets to poor, they can actually stop you from demolishing buildings, demolishing roads, or even building a station. So you definitely want to keep this as high as possible. And there's some kind of cheats and hacks you can do to get around it, and I'm sure we'll cover them later because it's really easy to make the towns angry with you. But they're good for now. So what I like doing for road vehicles is doing a little station like that, and then building a road surrounding them. And what this will do is two road vehicles can fit in the station going in each direction roading. So when you have a bunch of road vehicles servicing a station, rather than one road vehicle, two trucks, three trucks, and just making a long line backing up all the way to the station. One truck will go in, and then another truck will see that there's already a truck waiting there and will go up to this station. The third one will go around, go in this way. The fourth one will do the same, and then it just spreads traffic out much more effectively. And that factory is in the way, so again, we'll come up to here, transparency options, turn off the industry just to be sure we successfully connected that road, which he did, which is nice. And that'll be the goods route. Now click on the farm here. We can see that it makes grain and livestock. And so what we're going to do is we're going to build two separate road vehicle stations, just like the one up here. Two stations with a road around it. That a little too close to the hill there. Okay, and then I think we will build a tunnel here. That'll force the road vehicles to go up two hills in a row, which not enough cash. No. Perfect. So we'll just borrow as much as we can while we're constructing. the hill, and then here we'll do the same thing. Just 2, 4. Finish off the road there, and oh, perfect. Lines up perfectly. And we'll do this. Alright, so new road vehicles, do a livestock van, orders go to, and since it's a primary industry we can just full load and then unload and no loading. And then if you want to control here it doesn't matter very much, but if you have one-way roads or you're just trying to control which direction your vehicles enter from, you can tell them to go into this road vehicle depot, and they'll always go to it. So if you had a road vehicle depot, if you always wanted your road vehicles to approach the stations from this way, you could build a road vehicle depot there and tell them to visit it, and they'll always go there, and they'll come out to your truck stations. Just delete that since we don't need it. Again, hold control, press this button, and it'll create some clones. We can see about how many trucks we're going to need. So 108, 108 head of livestock, we can click on this piece of paper down here, and it carries 14 head of livestock. So we're going to need at least, let's see, 8 is 80, 8 times 4, 32. So we'll need 8 road vehicles to start out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I overbought a little bit, but it's okay. It depends how long it takes them to travel to the unloading station and back. So if it takes a month to get there, then you're going to need 16 because you'll need a month to get there and a month to get back. It'll produce 216 units. So we'll go. And then for road vehicles, I press the fast forward button, and then as soon as it hits like about 60%, I send the next road vehicle, and that ends up with decent spacing between them. Another one. And that is all we need for now. Again, the better service the industry is, the more it will produce. Outside of you can have economic downturns and stuff in the economy, and that'll affect the production of the industries. But for now, that's what we need. We can always add more vehicles later. So we're on this now for the grain. Very similar process. Go there, full load, unload, and no loading. Cover this a bunch of times. Let's have an estimate, 129 tons of grain. This carries 22, so 5 is 110. So we'll need 6. Again, overbought, but we'll see what we end up needing. First go. 65. It's always tough to try to get it in the perfect spot. Just have to keep pressing fast forward and unfast forward a bunch of times. Or you could just let them, you could press this button. So this button down here tells every vehicle that's stopped in the depot to go, and this button next to so that's the green circle, the red X next to it will tell any vehicles in the depot to stop. You could just press the go button and let them figure it out, but this is what we'll do here. That works. Got another one. And even though the first vehicle is really close, we'll just go ahead and add another one. It won't matter. It won't matter too much. Okay, so there's that. And now for the goods. We can already see we have some waiting, so we'll go ahead. New vehicles, goods truck. So this produced 173 crates of good, and only 44% were serviced by our trains. And that's, you can see 44% is our station rating, and we only transported 44%. So there is a very strong connection to your station rating and how much of the goods you can actually accept. Actually, I'm going to change one thing. Rather than having these two stations fight over the goods, we're just going to turn this station, hold the control button, click, and we're going to add this station to Fondingworth West. That way all the goods are shared. Our trains will be able to, since we don't have cargo distribution on, our trains will be able to pick up goods, and our trucks will be able to pick up goods without fighting each other too much. Because what would happen otherwise is, since this station only has a mediocre rating, and our trucks would be far more frequent, the truck station, Fondingworth Heights, would have had a higher rating than the factory, and the goods produced by this factory would have a bias towards Fondingworth Heights. And then our train might not get any goods, and running an empty train just costs you money. So we'll go there, and full load, unload all, and no loading. And we'll copy, where did this go? There it is. We'll copy this a bunch of times, and press go. And here it's really, sometimes when you have a buildup of goods, it's really hard to tell how many vehicles you need. So you might end up accidentally overpopulating the line. So you'll just have to go back and check every once in a while, see if there's a whole bunch of goods vans waiting for, or goods trucks waiting. But it's really, as soon as your first vehicle comes back to pick up, that's a good indication that you should stop. And if you have, so if you click on a vehicle in the depot and drag it over to the top button, it'll sell that vehicle, or you can press this button to sell all the road vehicles, and then that'll give a warning pop up. Alright. And then all these windows are open. We don't need them open anymore, so we can just press delete, and that closes all open windows. So now that's that taken care of, and we'll just continue to monitor like how many goods are waiting, see if any of these trucks end up backing up, see if we need to remove any trucks from the line or anything. So around here, let's see. Yeah, we'll just go ahead and add this farm to the mix right now. Let's see. So we'll grab a rail station. Now, serving farms with rail is kind of interesting. We could do the same thing that I just did for the trucks and separate out the grain and the livestock, but I don't really feel like doing that, so we'll try to service the farm with one station. And the reason farms are a little bit difficult to do combined grain and livestock is that these numbers will fluctuate, and they won't stay in the same ratio. So when I build the trains, I'm gonna have more livestock cars than I will grain cars. But as the industry develops and things change, then that may not necessarily be what we need in the future. So we may end up having a whole bunch of livestock waiting at or a whole bunch of grain waiting at the station, and the trains are just waiting for livestock, which is kind of inefficient. Oh, and we never added the road vehicles for this farm, but we can do that later. So now I think what we'll do is that's right. So we need to come in this way. You know what we might do? We might just replace this line. So no trucks are in that. And if you find it annoying when your mouse goes to the edge of the screen and it scrolls for you, you can turn that off in options. It's actually off by default, but I turned it on. Because sometimes when you're dragging a track, it's kind of handy to have. So we'll replace that bridge. Resume. So what I'm doing with this is I'm actually switching the flow of the line. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn this into the approach factory line and this the exit. I do right-hand drive. So we'll just do that. Nope, that's not right. Now, where is this coming from? So we only need this. No, we need this all the way to the factory. And that. Okay. Now that. Pause the game. We'll remove that signal. Remove that track. And replace that signal. That 8. It's as close to 8 as we can get because of that bridge. So what we'll actually do is we'll place another signal in front of the bridge just to maintain that spacing. Because the spacing between the trains on a line will be as long as the longest separation of the signals. Signal is a surprisingly hard word to say sometimes. Alright, so we'll do that. Just for that train to go through, and then we'll swap over the track. There we go, and then we can do that. We can do this. Alright. We have to connect that back. And if I did this, then trains leaving this platform would have to make a 90-degree turn here, so do that. Make that nice shape there. And not completely profitable yet between our new construction and road vehicles. You can see that just the new vehicles accounts for all of our negative balance, so that's another downside of road vehicles, is that I think they actually turn out to be more expensive than buying trains. So let's see here. Oh, yeah. Switching the flow. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Do that. And then we'll push one here because you want the signal as close to the station as you can get. Delete all those along that line. And we will add these back in. Go 1, 2, 3, 4, and same thing there. You can see leaving this platform, it would have to make a 90-degree turn to that one. Let's remove signals first. But we still do need that diagonal so that trains leaving this platform can go back to the iron ore factory, or iron ore mine. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and actually we can put that one back in. Hold Control, click and drag to finish off the line. Okay, so just thinking this through, the farm will leave the farm, connect up to this line, go down to this factory, go back along this rail, drop the goods off at this station, and then we need to connect back to this. So we'll make this a so it doesn't need to go from coming this way. It doesn't need to go to the right. It just needs to go. Just really needs to connect to this line. This line going that way, and then this line going this way, and actually no, it just needs to connect to this right lane here. That's why you think things through, because it's easy to get confused when you're building interchanges, just trying to decide what lanes you actually need. Now, since this isn't so busy right now, we could just make this a level crossing and not worry about causing it to not worry about blocking the other paths, but we'll just go ahead and add that. And see it right there, since you can build two diagonals on a square, it's real easy to select the wrong one and end up missing a segment of track. So there's that. Forgot to silence my phone before recording, so nice Star Trek communicator, or Star Trek Next Generation hail notification. So this one is coming this way. So we're gonna have to cross this over, which isn't actually that big a deal. We'll just go like this. That's okay. I was worried about having this junction here, because this is only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rail lines, so a train coming this direction could block this line. But since the farm trains are the only ones using this line, we don't have to worry about blocking the iron ore trains. So we'll just leave that how it is for now. And then we'll just connect this up with here. See how much we can get. But we do want to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That is not enough squares. So we'll try to expand this out a little bit. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think that's 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep, perfect. Okay. So that way the farm trains aren't blocking each other. Which is nice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And you want to be sure that since these are at a level crossing, you want to be sure that the train, you won't have a train waiting here for another train to move and end up with gridlock on that square. Come on. Sometimes the diagonals are hard to get, so just switch over to using the one track. There we go. All right. Signals there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Drag. I wish you can't put signals on bridges in the base game. So we'll just have an extra long spacing between. These trains will have an extra long wait if they end up bunching together. That's okay. There, oh, perfect. So now the only thing we need is a train depot. Something like that. Block the line to force them to depot just for fun. Alright, so new vehicles. Oh, so you can see already that the green dropped down, but the livestock stayed pretty steady. So, do not have, and I believe we already took the max loan. We did. That's unfortunate. But we'll just put it on fast forward and see how much money we can get. Alright, so after about 5 minutes, there we go. So we have a full train now. So what we can do, go to the across south, funding it west, market, or Flynn-Fingley market. Right. So we'll full load any cargo, and since the grain's not producing, we won't fill up the train with grain, but that'll be okay. And then go to, we will unload and take cargo, and unload and no loading. And again, for the timetable at the factory, we'll wait for 4 days, just to give it a chance to unload the goods, have the factory produce, unload the farm cargo, have the factory produce goods, and the train loaded up again. And go back to there, and we will go. So we're not going to have enough money to buy another train for this route for a little while, so we'll just have to wait until the return on investment comes in. But we're up $11,000 for the year, so that's good. We are making a profit, slowly but surely. Sometimes it just becomes a waiting game. And with that, I think I will end off this episode. Next episode, we will remember to put the road vehicles for this farm to this station, produce even more goods, and expand our transport empire 7 tiles further. It is epic at the start of the game. Alright, I will see you next time. Thanks for tuning in.